The church is in Africa at the service of reconciliation, peace and justice. At the service of reconciliation, peace and justice.
The study of beauty, arts, and visual appeal, especially how elements like color, composition, and design evoked emotional and sensory responses, is known mostly as aesthetics. But in the context of photography and newspaper, aesthetic focuses on what we call visual harmony, emotional impact, and functional beauty, which are elements that are considered particularly in print journalism. But with the advent of digitality, where so many things are fighting for attention, journalism, particularly the print journalism, need to consider how pictures are laid on the newspaper and whether they align with what we call news values. Hi there, good people, and welcome to our program, The Church on Social Communications, the program that guides us on the use of the means of communication according to the mind of the perfect communicator, Christ, as taught by the church and directed by professionals in the field. In today's edition of the program, we shall be discussing aesthetics and news values in photojournalism. My name is Singfred Senior Msonetata, welcoming you to our program today and sending you greetings from the foot of Mount Fako, where DMR TV is reaching you on radio, on television, and on its social media handles. I am accompanied by someone who is a prominent writer and editor in the popular newspaper in Anglophone Cameroon, the Post newspaper. Let's take a break. When we come back, I will unfold my guest for today and we'll start the discussion. You're welcome to the program and stay tuned.
Some reconciliation, peace and justice. At the service of reconciliation, peace and justice.
The program is the Church on Social Communications, and today we shall be discussing aesthetics and news values in photojournalism. And I'm accompanied by no other person than Andrew Saka. You're welcome to the program, Andrew.
Thank you, brother. I'm happy to be here today.
Can you introduce yourself a bit in relation to what you do in terms of journalism?
Okay. Currently, I'm serving as the desk editor of the Post newspaper, where I've been working since 2016, and I also run a website, Atlantic Chronicles. Yeah, so I've been in the field of communication for a while. Yeah, let me say getting to 10 years. So I've been working there in the newspaper, covering stories, and from there I've graduated to deciding which story goes, how it goes, and how it's treated.
That is quite great, and the Post newspaper is a very prominent newspaper that has stood the test of time in Anglophone Cameroon.
Yeah, that's true. I remember seeing the Post newspaper the first time was when I wrote the advanced level GCE. I think the GCE, yeah. And I had to get my results from there. So since then, I'm happy that I work there today. So it's a legendary place.
It's a wonderful pleasure to have you in the program today. Maybe I'll start by asking you, how relevant is the print media in the contemporary era?
Yeah, I think it's very, very relevant because communication or journalism is we have stories that are told told in different mediums. There are stories that are best told in the newspaper. There are some that are best told on TV, others on radio, and things like that. And even with the evolution of media, we see that there are still stories that are best told when just on the newspaper.
Yes.
For instance, there are some complex investigations, and you have to go in, out, yeah. And for you to have such on a TV program where probably reports are shorter, or on a radio program where reports are shorter and all the like, and you might not have all the time to delve into everything, the print media takes the place. There are some stories that you will not just see it you not just hear them on the radio or just see on the TV, but you first of all take it to the newspaper, and then the TV and the radio cue in from there. So it's still very relevant today, and I think in the midst of the new media and people going on, mostly accessing information through social media,
yes,
which has been invaded now by quacks and people who are not professionals, or some people who are just looking for impressions and likes and things like that, or to drum certain agendas. The print media still stands there like the grandfather of the profession. Yeah, to give that calm journalism, that good journalism, that ethical journalism that the society still needs.
Someone like Christendorf has said that content analysis cannot be done with pixels, and he considers anything published online as pixels, and say you go back to the hard stuff,
yeah,
to the print, before you can be claiming of having content that
yeah,
can be analyzed.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think that is very true. Most of the time, most of our researchers, when they want to research on what the media has said or how the media handle this or that, they go to the print media. It's hard to see somebody doing probably for instance, research on how like our Anglophone crisis,
yes,
yeah, has been reported in the media, and you see them say, okay, we are going to do some content analysis of a TV station. It's very hard, but when it comes to, but they know that the media, the print media has been reporting, newspapers have been reporting, and they can have a catalog of everything. They can have all the past editions to go over to check this week what happened. They note it down, and that's it. And I think when they say journalism is the first draft of history,
yes,
they refer to the print media, because you always have events as they unfold, as they develop, and at the end of the day, maybe how they ended and everything. And the historian can now come from there, look at all of those developments, and is able to write something clearer out of that first draft that was already done by journalists.
Thank you very much. As you heard him said, the print media remains very relevant in contemporary society.
Yeah.
When all these pixels on the internet would disappear,
yeah,
we'll come back to the print media to claim, because either even when the stories are published online, it is somebody who is keeping the server,
yeah,
and the person can decide and close it.
Yeah.
But when you hold your hard copy yourself,
yeah,
you come back there. So there is still, the print media remains very relevant.
Yeah, and let me just share an experience. I've been running my site Atlantic Chronicles, I think, since 2018.
Yes.
Recently, it got hacked.
Yes.
And they injected viruses and everything inside.
Everything disappeared.
And I lost that content. But copies of the Post newspaper, the first edition, they're in a hard copy. It can be reproduced. But with that, with what I was doing online, everything is lost. Yeah. So, but with the print media, I see that the backup is there. It's something that's been there with time. So it's not easier for it to just disappear in a click. Maybe the server can go down. Maybe somebody running the social site can just knock it down, or if it's shut down, that's all. But for the traditional media, like the print media, it will always be there. You always see it there and its beauty.
And that is very, very important, particularly for the church, that, you know, the church is the oldest institution in the world, and our history, some of the happenings in our societies are reserved in the magazine that we publish. And that tells you the importance of always getting your copy of Cameroon Panorama. You will fall back to it when every other thing must have gone away. You will fall back to these hard copies, and you'll be able to, you know, relive the history as it was.
Yeah.
Now let's get back to the business of the day. let me ask you, Andrew, as a desk editor of the Post newspaper, in this fast-moving digital world, we talk about photography. How does photography determine whether a story should be, should be published or should be ignored, should get public attention or ignored? Can photography play that role? Does it play that role in the print media?
Yeah, I think photography in the print media is very essential. Print media, you go there, you know that you are going to read text and everything. The story is written through writing. The story is told through writing. But we have pictures to accompany these write-ups, and these pictures are very important. Starting from the front page to the inside pages of the newspaper, pictures are very, very, very vital, because they are like they had the evidence that the journalist is accompanying that story that he or she is telling. You are telling your readers that this happened here, or this is how this place is, and the picture comes there like the proof, like to show that this story I'm telling is not just from anywhere. This is the proof. And then from with the picture, we can go into the details of the picture, how it's taken, the information is intending to portray, and all the like. But the picture is like really, really super essential. And there are stories that you would treat, and then you say probably because when you are reading a newspaper, and if you just have great text, it will be very boring for the reader. It's a natural human instinct. So at times, if you have 3 stories, and you have space just for 2, you might likely take the one with the picture, because that's the one that you know that the reader will read it first, because of the picture will attract the reader to that place, probably a headline and then a picture or something like that. So pictures are very important. It also goes right to the front page. When you are designing the front page, and you know that is like some sort of like what is advertising that particular edition.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know that what people see inspires them, and it's what pushes them to decide whether to read further or not. And you have pictures in the edition. You want that the story with the best picture that has a very telling message to pass across the picture. You've obviously prioritized that. So that's why when we tell reporters that when you go to the field and you are reporting and you are writing your good story, make sure that you have a good picture to accompany that story. Because if you don't, and the front page needs to be beautiful to attract readers, we'll get the one that has a very good. At the end of the day, a story with a very good picture will take that place.
So you say the picture boasts credibility.
It boasts credibility.
It adds comprehension to the news story. Now we are talking about aesthetics. What role does a photograph, a picture, play in, creating aesthetics in the news story? Do you also consider that?
Yeah. I think there are a lot of things that reporters and editors, they take into consideration when it comes to pictures. Yeah, like I earlier said, the pictures add beauty to the story.
Yes.
Yeah, they add beauty to the story, and also the professional way they are taken, or the artistic way they are taken. Yeah, also add to that. So in every sense of it, how the newspaper appears in the face, at the face value, before you go into to anything, matters a lot to the editors. It matters a lot to the readers, even when the readers themselves are not conscious of that.
Yes,
but
unconsciously, unconsciously it attracts them.
Yeah, it attracts them, because at the end they will not tell you. Nobody will tell you that, okay, I want to read this paper because I want to read this newspaper because of the way this picture was used, or the way the layout was done, or this thing. But those are the little aesthetics that those putting the newspaper together know that this is what will attract people to it. There are newspapers that you will see online, and just from the front page, the pains you go through to read it and all the like will just discourage somebody from even trying to read. But there are some that naturally just from the way the pictures, the
text itself is laid out.
Everything is displayed. Unconsciously, you just make that choice to just go and look at them first, because you can put, when you go to the newsstands and there are maybe 10, 20 different front pages in front of you, what will attract you first
is the one that is captivating, and this captivation is done.
The one that
the picture appeals,
everything is inviting. That's where your eyes will go there first. After from there, when you have satisfied your curiosity by looking at what that particular paper has for you, that's when you can now begin to shift around and look at others.
As we always say, we say that the communication content is not only the text. You have other elements that are very, very important. You audit photo choices before you place them. You select them to be laid out for your newspaper.
I think what we do now is like with where I work at the Post, we tell reporters that when you go to the field, you take a good number of those stories, of photos, and they should be telling a story. So depending on the angle the editor might decide to focus on or to reorientate the article toward, that informs the type of picture that at the end of the day it goes with the writer.
Now let's take a break. When we come back, we look at how the news values the role that photography play in bringing out news values.
Peace and justice at the service of reconciliation. Peace and justice.
Welcome back. The program is the Church on Social Communication, and today we are discussing aesthetics and news values in photojournalism. Yes, Andrew, when we talk about news values in journalism, we know about timeliness, prominence, proximity, impact. Does photography plays a role in this?
Yeah, I think it plays a very important role. Photography is part and parcel of a story. Yeah, there are stories that could just be told with pictures.
How is timeliness, proximity, impact, prominence? How do they play in photography?
Yeah, I think just like the stories that we tell.
Yes.
Yeah, just like the stories that we tell, the pictures are very important. They need to be relevant to the person looking at them.
Yes.
Yeah, you can have a very dramatic picture from somewhere, but if my audience is Cameroon or my audience is in Boya, what is happening in some other place will not be of interest to them, like what is happening here.
Yeah.
It's the same with the story, it's the same with the picture. So when we see something, if you see that, for instance, Boya is having a problem of managing its waste. Yeah, and you see heaps of trash all over the place, and you wait maybe for it, you take a photograph of it and then wait to publish it 2 weeks after. It will not be relevant to the person getting the information, because that problem has already been solved.
Yes.
Yeah, so the picture too has to be timely, like the story that you are telling. If you see it, you cannot postpone that. Okay, if you see it today and you decide to postpone and come tomorrow, you might be coming when that story has already gone, if the whole problem has been solved. So that's the aspect of timeliness. I think I talked about relevance.
Yes.
Like it needs the person looking at that, reading a story and looking at the picture that's accompanying the story, needs to feel a connection. It needs to concern the person. It needs to have a connection with the person. How does that affect the person's life? So all of that is there, and it also has to do with even the ethics.
Yes.
Yeah. There are pictures, there are stories that can be told with pictures, but also the pictures might not directly be showing what the story is talking about, because ethically it's wrong.
Yes.
Like, for instance, when a school kid was shot around checkpoint.
Yes.
And we had to tell, and people had to tell, the news writers had to tell that story. Yeah, a girl was shot, her brains were blown out, and people carried her and moved around protesting.
Yes.
But to tell that story now, although that is what actually happened, and there are images of that have circulated on social media and everywhere. As a professional now, you know that for you, in respect of your ethics, you cannot show that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are graphic.
Those are very graphic. They're very graphic, and they are not good for the eyes, because what they might do is not even just what they will do to the individual who just looks at them at once. What it plants in their minds, and it's very bad for them and the society in the long run. So the editors and the graphic designers and everybody, they make sure that they filter out such graphic content.
Yes.
Yeah. In that case, if you are telling the story of this young girl who had her life taken from her during that unfortunate incident, you can use now a picture of her when she was alive.
Yes.
You have to show that this behind this story, this is the face behind this story that this unfortunate thing happened to. So you respect all of those ethical things that have to do with journalism. You tell the story, but you make it in a very human way, even with your pictures. And sometimes the picture is not the one that has to show like what people don't need to see.
We know that every picture is a new story.
Yeah.
A cut line of picture should tell the story. Now, sometimes we see newspapers that use pictures without the consent of those who even shot those pictures, and they do not acknowledge the sources.
Yeah.
It is becoming very common. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think what our journalism has somehow failed to teach us is that there is strength in being honest in your journalism. Because just like the material you sit, the story you sit down to write, that's your intellectual property.
Yes.
Just the pictures you take, the photos you take of an event or whatever thing story you want to tell.
Also belong to somebody.
They also belong to somebody. There's somebody behind them, and they need that their work should be acknowledged. And somehow I say we have failed because in our newsrooms, there are times that a story comes in, and as the editor, you know that this story was not taken by this our reporter.
Yes.
Yeah. But you don't go to the reporter to ask who took this picture, because you have to give credit for that, even if you bought the picture. I've taken pictures and they have been used. I think I took some pictures, the BBC took them and used them, but they still acknowledge me.
Yes.
Yeah, I've sold pictures, but they still give credit to you even after you have done that. But in our own case, people take pictures that they don't belong to them. They don't even acknowledge the source, and they just use like that. Ethically, it is very wrong, and you can be taken to court, and the person who owns who has the rights to that image, they can do a very big claim from that, and you have to oblige because you stole their intellectual property.
And it has become a common practice.
Yeah.
In many newspapers. Let's move ahead.
Yeah, and it's not. Let me just add that it's not just that. Even when we tell stories.
Yes.
There are stories that, for instance, the Post can be telling a story that the Guardian Post has told.
Yes.
And you are using that. You are using your primary source is the Guardian Post.
And you don't acknowledge it.
You don't acknowledge it. You see, you write it as though it is coming from you. That is intellectually and ethically, that's not right. And we are doing that with stories. We are doing that with pictures. So I think we need to really tell people. We really need to
respect the ethics of the profession, the deontology.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to. Sometimes when we are complaining about the state apparatus pressing on us, and freedom of expression, we should be also think of what we are also doing.
Yeah.
Now, it's often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Are there some pictures that can oversimplify or over-exaggerate a story?
Yeah, I think that's when the danger of telling a story from just one side comes in. For instance, somebody you go and there's something, an event unfolding, and the picture that comes out from there that somebody takes and decides to make very public is the one that suits their narrative. In that the whole story has different angles that you can tell them, just like the story we read in our textbooks about people, blind people trying to, visually impaired people trying to describe an elephant.
Yes.
Somebody touches from here and tells that no, it feels like this, it feels like a snake, it feels like that, it feels like a wall. But it's a similar thing with photography and journalism.
Yes.
Because somebody can go for an event and they capture just a little of what an aspect of it. But since they are storytellers and they have an audience that relies on them, you come and that is the image that you portray of that event. And there are thousands of people that rely on you for that information. That is the only version they are going with.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody tells them again that no, this is what happened, this also happened, nobody wants to hear. That's why you can have one thing happening, and then you get like different versions. People
see it from the editorial policy perspective, and also from what interests them as
the interest they have in portraying in sending that information out. And it is dangerous, and that's when the issue of balance in storytelling comes in journalism. Yeah. So you have to strike the balance. You have to make sure that you tell the story in such a way that if anybody getting the information can get it from the various angles, and most importantly get the truth. So it also applies same with pictures.
Yes.
If you go for a protest, and it's not, most protests and agendas are very complex.
Yes.
So you can focusing just on a simple or maybe on the aspect that you want to portray out. It's very it's very dangerous, and it's very detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a practical example when there was a protest in UP at the beginning of the Anglophone crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Different people went there and reported differently. There were those who sympathized with the students, who reported that you look at their reports and the photos accompanying. You see the broken doors. You see the flawed students and
the side they have taken.
You see the side they have taken.
The bias is very clear.
It's very clear. And then you go again and read another report. They tell you that no, the gendarmes and the police came in and rescued this because students were destroying that and doing that. And then you see probably a tire burning in the middle of the road, or structures that have been put down, and they say that's what the students were doing because of this. In the whole of that, there's the truth that is in the middle. But people just because the person telling the story and the person sending out the photographs or taking and sending it to those who rely on them for information, just because they focus on one aspect.
Yes.
That's what some people will get, and whatever you tell them, they'll never believe it. They say, no, this is what I saw.
And of course, there are many people who think that the reality of the media is the reality as empirical reality.
Yeah.
But it is a constructed reality which is sometimes influenced by the interests, biases that the other people. Now, with the era of AI-generated images, how can journalism remain relevant and trustworthy in the eyes of the public?
Yeah, I think what as is already happening now.
Yes.
You see that with AI images and videos and all the like, it discredits a lot of information that you get outside. Like the first thing when you get something is to ask yourself, is this AI generated or is this real? And I think that's where the traditional media has to cement its place.
Yes.
Yeah. If we give into the cloud chasing and all the like, and begin to fall for that and start filtering in maybe AI constructed images in our reports.
Yes.
Then they will become a timeline.
It will be terrible.
Yeah. Nobody will believe in anything. So we have to be the difference. Before AI, I think stories that needed pictures and you didn't have a picture of them to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
You use some illustrations. Yeah. But with AI is trying to make up for that gap by creating something to replace what is supposed to be there. So that's a danger. There are stories that probably you cannot tell with a picture, you can tell with charts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In our newsrooms, we had people who were in charge of doing that, and they did that well. If there's a story, maybe probably there's no picture, and you can do an illustration. We used to have cartoonists and all the like, and they can do some sort of illustration to fill that gap, and it worked well. But with AI now, they just make up things, even videos. You see somebody's delivering a speech that they did not deliver.
They not deliver.
You see images of scenes that never happened. You see pictures of things that did not happen. But AI is able to imagine if it happened, this is how the picture would have looked, and they will create exactly that. And then a lot of people fall for that, and it adds to the amount of fake news that
fake and deep fake now.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the things that look very real are even all AI generated.
Exactly. And it makes the work of a journalist very, very difficult, because somebody who wants to believe in that, no matter what they are telling them, some people are so radical, they will not believe that. We have, I think one of the highest casualties of this is the new man of Burkina Faso.
Yes.
Yeah, Ibrahim Traore.
Yes. So many things are said and put in the mouth and removed.
I think if you go online now, you can even see most of what you see about him is just AI generated. You see him delivering a speech that he never delivered. So what somebody who wants to misinform people or to send some fake information outside will do is that will just tell AI to imagine Traore giving this speech, and they give the speech to AI, or they ask the AI to construct to come up with that speech, and they create a video of him delivering that speech. And when you tell somebody that no, this is not real, they will tell you, no, you are just jealous, you are pro France, you are pro this, you are pro that. So it becomes a problem at the end. So at the end of the day, we need to draw that line. Real journalism needs to focus on the facts. If you are using a picture, use a picture that is real. If you are using a video, use a video that is real, so that when somebody wants good information, they know that they can come to DMR TV. The images broadcast there are real. If they go to Cameroon Panorama, the pictures on the magazine are real. If they go to the Post, the pictures used are real, and everything and other like.
And with that, we come to the end of our program with that sweet discussion, and we are going to continue it as you heard it. Journalism to remain relevant, let us remain factual and focus on reality, and a lot of fake outside there. And we're saying that photography plays a very important role in communicating information. Sometimes some people who cannot read, they see a picture, they confirm the picture. It plays a very boasts credibility, it complements the story, and it also helps us to understand, to assimilate what is being disseminated as news. With that, we come to the end of our program, and we ask you to keep the rendezvous for next Monday. We are going to continue with this discussion because it's very interesting. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we hope to have you again in the next edition of the program. Sure. God bless you and goodbye. Keep on listening to the programs of Divine Mercy Radio and Television. We just stand by. PD News is coming up with Kenya Man. Goodbye and God bless you.
The church is in Africa at the service of reconciliation, peace and justice. The church is in Africa at the service of reconciliation.